Hello and welcome, my name is Ansu and today we're here to do a book haul. Am I ever going to stop with these? Probably not, but I wanted to talk about a few books that I got in the past couple of months. Some of these were actually ARCs, physical ARCs that got sent to me, so I am beyond grateful. So I'm going to talk about like 3 or 4 ARCs that were sent to me through Harper and a couple of e-arcs that I had actually gotten and a couple other books. It's a mishmash of everything. Let's talk about them. The first one I'm going to talk about is actually coming out today on May 18th when I'm actually filming this, and it is Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. I actually started reading this in about 60 pages in, and I'm really enjoying it. Basically, the story follows around Madeleine Moore, who has this family-owned bookshop, and we have this new bookstore that popped up called Prologue, the chain bookstore that just opened up next door, and basically Madeleine feels like they're stealing all her customers. There's a situation where Madeleine's family-owned bookstore is going to get shut down, and obviously she is devastated. She does not want that to happen, and there's this guy named Jasper who's kind of flirting with her but is actually the enemy who's working with Prologue. I feel like there's going to be a slight romance in there, like an enemies to lovers kind of a situation, like flirtatious enemies to lovers. I guess that's what's going to happen, and that's all I've gotten, but I really am enjoying it so far. I think it's a very interesting story and I'm liking it. Next up, I want to talk about another new release, and this came out on May 4th, and it is The Woman with the Blue Star by Pam Jenoff. We have 18-year-old Sadie who is living with her parents during the horrifying situations of the Krakow ghetto. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, around that situation, Nazis essentially liquidate the ghetto. Sadie and her mother are trying to hide away from the Nazis in a sewer. One day, Ella, a Polish girl, is running an errand, and she kind of catches a glimpse of Sadie and her mother in the sewers. So basically, Ella ends up helping Sadie out a little bit, and they strike up a friendship, and it's supposed to go from there. There's a good friendship. Also, obviously, the terrors that happened during the Nazi regime as well. I'm actually pretty excited to get to this, but I just haven't gotten around to it. It has to happen soon, and I think it's like also dual perspective because we're kind of looking through Sadie and Ella's lenses just to see like what's going on. It sounds really good and something that I could read to cry. Another arc that I physically got was Love in English by Maria E. Andrew. This came out in beginning of February. I think I've mentioned this book before, but I just haven't really hauled it, so I wanted to talk about this. I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be because I don't know, I thought this cover was cute. I think that's why I requested it. Although they don't really know the language, they're still finding romance and they're kind of falling for each other, that kind of a situation, and I think it's supposed to be very cute. It literally says, like, inspired by the author's experience learning to speak English as a new immigrant. This is a story about identity, language, and love. I think it's really cool, sounds really sweet, and I feel like I will really enjoy this one. Final physical arc that I got was Where the Rhythm Takes You by Sarah Dass. This one already came out on the 11th of May. Look at how gorgeous this cover is. I believe it's supposed to be like a contemporary romance type of a book. We have Raina, whose mother passed away 2 years ago, and she's still kind of trying to deal with that grief, and at this time her childhood friend Aiden, her first love, her first kiss, her first everything, is actually moving away from Tobago and is going elsewhere to pursue his music dream. At the same time, her father also wants to move on and go elsewhere, but Raina really wants to stay and take care of her resort. It's like a family resort, that's why she wants to stay. Anyway, soon enough, Aiden is actually coming back as a VIP guest at her resort, and I feel like there's a romance involved because it literally says a romantic, mesmerizing novel of first love and second chances. So I feel like they will have a cute romance going on. It sounds lovely. It's a beautiful cover, and I'm so excited. So yeah, I quickly wanted to mention all of these books, which I had gotten from HarperCollins, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Moving on to 2 early copies that I got from NetGalley. I was able to get the audiobook version of One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and it's actually coming out on June 1st, I think, and oh my gosh, it is so fucking cute. I loved it. I actually finished reading it and I absolutely adored it. We're following 23-year-old August, who is moving to New York City to actually finish up her degree, essentially. It's supposed to prove to her that things like magic and cinematic love does not really exist. Once she moves to New York, she gets to know a bunch of these people who are her roommates now, and they're really adorable people. There's a person who's a psychic. There's a very hyper girl. I don't know how to explain her. She's just very lovely, but she's also super hyper. And there's another one who I think got kicked out of his trust fund and has an emotional support dog. And there's also another character who is also a drag queen, and I thought that was also cool to like incorporate in here. And basically August, once when she's traveling to go to college, she meets with this girl on her train. She spilled something on her, and this girl called Jane actually helps her to like hide the spill. So Jane looks like this 1970s rock star punk girl, and you would think that August would never see her again, but every single time she gets on the train, she ends up seeing her, and she gets to wondering, who is this girl? Like, what is up with her? And we quickly come to realize that Jane was actually displaced from the 1970s into present day. Such a sweet novel. Like, honestly, I loved it. But I'm also keeping Red, White, and Royal Blue in my head, and I feel like the idea of having like a bit of sort of time travel, I guess, with this character Jane, I felt like kind of took away from the story for me just a little bit. It was still very enjoyable, but I kept comparing it to Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I absolutely adored. And also, it had a lot of moments where you could laugh out loud, which I felt like One Last Stop did not have as much, even though there were some characters who were really lovely and I genuinely had a connection with them. I didn't feel that happy reading it as much as Red, White, and Royal Blue made me feel. I'm not saying it's a bad book. I really enjoyed it, and I'm somewhere between 4.5 and 5 stars. I'm not 100% sure where I lie just yet. I really enjoyed it, but I don't think it's like a perfect. I don't know. It's still a really good book. I would still recommend it 100%. It's a lovely romance, super cute. It is very sweet. It's a very cute romance, but I'm still just comparing it to Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I just find that more hilarious and sweet. This one was just sweet. I don't know. It's a really good book though. I really enjoyed it. I also got another audiobook which is also coming out today on May 18th. I literally got it like a couple of days ago. I didn't finish reading it. I need to get to it. But anyway, it's Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. We have Izumi Tanaka, who's living in a Northern California town, which is pretty white, and she just feels like it's not easy to be Japanese American. She's raised by her single mother, and she's also known as Izzy instead of Izumi because Izzy is easier to say. But it has always been Izumi and her mom all the way together. Later on, Izumi comes to realize that her unknown father, or her absent father, was actually the crown prince of Japan. So that literally would mean that Izumi is also a princess. This has like Princess Diaries vibes, and I'm living for it. If you didn't know, I grew up reading Princess Diaries. That was like the first ever book that I properly started reading, and oh my gosh, it's giving me such good nostalgia. It's so cute. I also got an audiobook copy for this one from NetGalley, so yeah, those are the 6 arcs that I got. The 4 from HarperCollins, the other 2 from NetGalley. I'm gonna quickly mention this book, but my brother actually got this, and I'm most likely going to read it, and it's also on my shelf, so I feel like I have free reign to talk about it. And it is Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus by John Gray. This one is supposed to show like what most men and most women are like. It's not necessarily going to be like every single person is like this, but there's some aspects of each person who identifies as man or woman that are very similar to each other, if that makes sense. That's what I'm getting from it, to help communicate like difficult feelings and stuff. It's like a relationship type of a book, but yeah. I had this one to kind of talk about too, so there you go. Alright you guys, those are all the books that I got in the past couple of months. I hope you really enjoyed this. Let me know down below if you're excited for any of these books, and I'll see you all next time with another one. Until then, I'll talk to you all in the comments. Bye!